So I figured since I'm producing all these other podcasts, wouldn't it make sense for me to have my own damn podcast? Well, of course it would. How you doing? I'm Easy Street. Thank you so much for locking into the Street Report podcast. This is the very first one, man. I mean, of course, I produced other podcasts before, but not on this platform. It's very obvious. As you can see, I'm going full speed ahead with my very own podcast. Not that I'm not going to produce other people's podcasts. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it is time for me to get in the game and get in the game real heavy. Now, really quick, I'm passionate about a lot of things, okay? 28-year veteran in the radio business. I have tons and tons of... Who is this calling me? Hello?
Do not hang up the phone. This is an important message about your Google business listing.
Wait a minute, hold on. You know what? These damn telemarketers... How do they get your damn number? See, that's what you get for picking up the phone. You see a number on your phone, you don't know who it is. Instead of sending them to voicemail, you get that. I should know better. So as I was saying, my archives of stuff for my 5 years of doing talk radio with Trending with Easy on WOL, all these interesting conversations I've had from politics, health and wellness, Black history, African American culture, and I mean, I have so much stuff, it's ridiculous. I was like, why don't I use some of this stuff, some of this content, some of these topics to produce my very own podcast so I can continue on the path that I set for myself in regards to being a service to our community. Now, really quick before we jump right in and start talking about hip hop for grown folks, I'm passionate about so many things. And I'm telling you right now, this podcast is going to go in so many different directions. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Should I be one-dimensional and just talk about music all the time and artists and celebrities? Oh, hell no, I ain't doing that. Or should I talk about social issues, what's going on in politics, what's happening in the African American community? Or should I just talk about relationships? Or should I just talk about spirituality? Should I talk about God, my relationship with him? Should all of my shows be about one thing? The answer to that is hell no. It's not going to be one thing. It's going to be compelling. It's going to be informative. It's going to be exciting. But the underlying thread that will be in all these podcasts, that they will be from an African American perspective. So, of course, we are the creators of some incredible music, whether it be rock, soul, jazz, R&B, reggae, gospel, house music, so many other forms of music, and of course, hip hop. So we start this conversation off at the Mitchellville Barbershop in Mitchellville, Maryland. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Street Report. I call this hip hop for grown folks.
Like we always do about this time.
My favorite was Midnight Marauder. I just love the cuts, man. The cuts were real smooth. It was nice riding sound.
Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style. That was the jam. It had that West Coast thump to it.
It probably was Wu-Tang because I didn't understand it at the time. It was new. I was into the 5% thing, but I didn't totally understand it. So I had to go home and study it and understand what they were talking about. So that's why it intrigued me.
As Anthony said, all three were very good. But I believe Tribe Called Quest had the biggest impact on my life.
That Wu-Tang in them, that's that New York style rap. That Doggy Style, you got that grind on it, baby. Make you want, hold that lady tight.
You gonna learn today.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Are you ready?
This ain't the radio.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
The Street Report Podcast.
He raps for the DMV to the fullest.
Hosted by Easy.
Mr. President.
It is great to talk to you.
Raw and uncut.
Holla at your boys, it's Jay-Z.
DJ Khaled.
What up, though? It's your boy, Big Snoop, Double G. Rocking out with my nephew, Easy Street.
Easy Street.
The Street Report Podcast. Hosted by Easy.
All right, welcome to another edition of the Street Report. I am Easy Street, live at the Pitch Tavern, and I got some of my friends in the building.
What's going on?
What's up, Street? Hip hop for grown folks.
Indeed. Yeah.
Okay, on my far left, that is DJ Iron right there.
Absolutely.
The Big Daddy. The Big Daddy, legendary DJ here in Washington, D.C. Danielle Lott, one of my good friends. She is a hip hop connoisseur. Everything hip hop, she knows.
Absolutely.
And to my left, right here, is Akil. Now, Akil is not only is he an incredible music guy, and he also does yoga. And are we gonna talk about yoga at all in this conversation?
We're going to talk about hip-hop, and if it comes, I mean, you know.
It'll happen organically,
probably,
right?
more than likely.
Okay, wonderful. So,
Yoga.
Iron's at HUR. Danielle
Absolutely.
works for...
Universal. It's Republic Records now.
Okay, and of course, RCA Records. Okay, so today we are here to talk about the year was 1993. Yes.
Okay.
1993 was an incredible year for hip hop. Let me just first of all give you a rundown of the classic albums that came out in 1993, okay? Off the break.
Woo.
Woo. Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers.
Absolutely.
Midnight Marauders, Tribe Called Quest. 93 Till Infinity. Into the Stage,
Records.
Black Moon.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Diggable Planets, Reaching.
Okay. All right.
That was my joint.
Back the F Up, Onyx.
Okay.
Here Come the Lords of the Underground.
Okay.
Wow, hold on. Jazzmatazz.
Right.
Okay. Queen Latifah.
Okay.
Black Rain. Salt and Pepper had an album.
Menace, did I see Menace on there?
Menace to Society came out.
Soundtrack.
The soundtrack was crazy.
And of course, Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. So 93 was an incredible year.
Indeed.
Let's start off with where you were in 1993, DJ Iron.
1993, I am at 93.9 WKYS. I'm on the air. Radio 1 had just recently bought it. So now things are changing for me. Before Radio 1 bought it, I literally could play what the hell I wanted. Radio 1 came involved, and there were a little more rules and parameters involved, but still a good time because hip-hop was very new. It was now finally bubbling, and it was in its full bubble. So there was a lot of great music, and it touched so many people from college to young adults. Hip-hop was everything in 1993. It was everything.
Okay, Danielle, 93, where were you?
93, I was fresh from Philly. I moved to LA. My brother and I moved to LA to go to school there. Hip hop, I was a huge hip hop head. Going to school.
Okay, so you left Philadelphia.
Yes.
To go to what university did you go to?
Cal State.
Okay, Cal State. All right. That's the Bears, right?
Northridge.
Okay, Northridge. Okay, wonderful.
I didn't know that.
93, where were we? Where were you?
93, actually, it was my first time coming to the East Coast.
Wow.
June of 1993. When I think of 93, I think of D.C., I think May, June, I think Slow Hall at HU Howard University.
HU?
Like,
So
yeah.
all of you
Yeah.
went to Howard University.
Absolutely. All
we
bison.
did.
All bison.
Everybody
You
except
know.
me. I'm the one that doesn't know.
Right?
We forgive you.
You're honorary DMV. You're honorary youngin.
Okay, so now that we know where everyone was, let me tell you where I was. I started my career in 1990 in Dallas, Texas, fresh out of college at Kansas State University. And I was on the air at a radio station called 100.3 Jams with Russ Parr and Alfredas.
Okay.
Okay, so by the way, in this story, Russ Parr is the individual that named me Easy Street.
Really?
I did
Wow.
not. I did.
So without Russ, what was your name going to be? What were you going to name yourself?
The way it happened was this. Rick Party, who we know is now on ESPN doing the voiceover for Sports Center, and he has a brand new morning show coming up that's going to be syndicated. Rick left Dallas, and the radio station had a contest where they would let the listeners decide who the next night personality was, who the next night person was going to be on the radio.
Okay.
Right.
And so the listeners, none of them can come up with any good names. So Russ, being from the West Coast,
Okay.
Eazy-E, NWA, we're going to call this guy Easy. And we want this person to be out in the street. So when I came into the market and auditioned for the position. After I got the job, they named me Easy Street.
Wow.
So you didn't already come in with a job, with a name.
No, I didn't. I have my real name, which I won't be saying right now.
I was going to say, what's that?
And I don't even know.
Right. I don't think I know either.
I know, but I'll keep
you a
it
plane
secret.
ticket. I can't believe I hadn't put that together.
You will not be knowing my real name. I'll tell you when we're off the podcast. So,
now I'm thinking.
I'm on the air in Dallas, and Helen Little. You know Helen.
Yeah.
You guys know Helen.
Yeah.
She was the music director.
Okay.
One day
she was operations.
she comes into the studio and says, "Hey, I know we're in Dallas, Texas. We down south, but we're about to break this record."
Okay.
I'm like, okay. I was like, what is it? She said it's Method Man. And it's the Wu-Tang Clan. I said, the Wu-Tang what?
It's that one.
Yeah.
The Wu-Tang what? I couldn't even pronounce that. I was like, wait a minute. You want me to go on the air and play this song?
Right.
His name is Method Man.
I appreciate that, but the hip-hop audience, our fans are so fickle at times, and they got short attention spans and even shorter memories, But it's always good to be recognized for your achievements and what you do, man, without recognizing it for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like always yanking your own chain. When other people yank your chain, feels better. It's like, you can scratch your own head, and you don't feel as good as when somebody else scratch your head. Boy, that's incredible.
I played this record, and it's all hell broke loose for Dallas.
Wow.
Right.
In Dallas, Texas. I mean, that was the very first time that I ever heard Wu-Tang Clan was from Helen Little. She's the one that brought the record to the radio station, and we began playing it, and the rest is history.
Did they respond immediately?
At first, being down south, and there was like a group of individuals that were all into deep hip-hop with me.
Right.
Some of these individuals, want me to tell you who one of the persons was?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll just do a little quiz, okay? There's a gentleman that's on a syndicated morning show right now with Ricky Smiley. That's one of the co-hosts.
Head crack.
Head Crack.
Okay.
Head Crack was just a youngin', probably wasn't even old enough to get into the club.
Wow.
But he
Right.
was part of the scene. And what I would do, I would invite local rappers from Dallas to come to the radio station to let them see what the radio station was about. They would be producing introductions, doing little raps for me for my show. You know who else did one of my first raps on my show as well?
Who?
He was part of a rap group in Dallas, Texas.
Azim.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Azim Rashid.
Yes.
Right.
But let me tell you another crazy part. Azim was Helen's intern.
Wow. That's crazy.
I did that. They had a record deal, right? He had a record deal.
He had a group called Nemesis, Munchies for Your Bass.
I heard about that.
That was on Profile Records. And sometimes I'll break that out if I see him. I'd be like, if I know he's coming to town, I'd be like, hey, man, want to buy this CD?
You know what? The reason why I asked, because, again, I came from Chicago in 93, and what got me into the music industry was I was an on-air personality for WHBC. That's the Howard station.
Indeed.
And it was supposed to, I don't know if it was even working broadcasting to the dorms that year. You know what I'm saying?
I'll piggyback
Probably
off
not.
yours. Before you got to Howard, I'd graduated, and by the time I was graduated, I was general manager of
wow.
WHBC.
You know, when
Get
I
outta
came,
here.
it
I
was,
never knew that.
Raphael George was the GM.
Ooh.
And Simone
I never knew that either.
Baldwin was the PD or music director.
There it is.
Raphael George. But anyway,
History.
I remember playing that record. And
What were you playing?
I'm
Method
fresh out
Man?
of Chicago. METHOD.
Man.
I hated it. I was like, oh my God. You get off my club. But I couldn't get it out my mind. I was like, METHOD. Man, I was like, oh, but yeah.
But was that the first single? I thought Protect Your Neck was the first single.
That was.
It probably was one of those B-sides.
You know what? Protect Your Neck. Iron, you want to go ahead and tell
I'll
it?
do it. My story's a little long, so bear with me.
Okay.
Okay, here's my Wu-Tang story. This is pre-anything. I lived right up the street on Quincy Street. Well, people know we're
Right
in
up the
DC.
street from where we are right now.
Right now, we're
George-
at Pitch Tavern.
Okay,
in
on
Petworth,
Ju-
DC. I live right up the street. Actually, down the street on Quincy Street, 2 blocks down, there was another guy who was into hip hop like me. He was a producer and rapper. His name was Father Lord. 5% of the whole 9. Father Lord, he had a group, and his group was called The Beggars. He's like, I remember my man out in New York. You had his old record. You remember RZA? I'm like, RZA? Like, he used to go by the name Rakim. I'm like, Rakim. I was like, oh yeah, I know his record on Tommy Boy. I remember that. What's that?
Why you bring that up then? Yeah.
He's like, he got a new group called Wu-Tang Clan. He said, I want to play you something. I was like, all right. He plays me a couple of records. I don't think any of them made the album. Then a Wu-Tang record came in the mail for me. Went over, was like, "Is this your man?" We put it on. It's Protect Your Neck and After the Laughter on the B-side.
Right.
Okay. Then After the Laughter was the B-side. That's on when they put it out themselves.
Yes. Yep.
When they got on Loud Records.
Okay. Yep.
When they got the deal with Loud, the A-side was Protect Your Neck. The B-side was the runaway hit Method Man. Okay. Wow. So that's how Method Man was on the B-side, but it was undeniable. Undeniable. It was all the energy. All the energy was there,
it, but I couldn't get away from it.
All the energy,
I love
and
it.
he had a sing-songy bridge. I got the that will run, and I'm about to go get lifted. Yeah, I'm about to go. Exactly. As a DJ, I can move the fader over the whole time and let the crowd sing the whole part. So Nelly, before you was singing,
yes.
Method Man touched a little bit on it, but walked away from. He didn't do it for the whole song, Nelly. Yeah, but that's the thing. But also to extend the story, so WKYS, the record company, of course, was Loud, but they were. Remember, Wu-Tang was not the premier act for them at the time. When they came to do their first promo, the person that was with them was a young lady named Terry Ferguson. And I'm gonna get dissed in the story, but you're gonna love it. Okay, so she brings the Alcoholics, which at the time was a premiere for them.
I remember those guys.
The Wu-Tang Clan,
West Coast.
But the entire buzz in the world was on Wu-Tang Clan. So Wu-Tang was under the Alcoholics.
East Coast.
Now let me give you a powerful piece about how important the RZA was to what they're doing. Because I'm a big dude, you know, they kept joking with it. One of them started calling me Bookman. So I'm like, yo. Because I'm about to interview them in the whole nine. I'm playing your record, and you gonna call me Bookman? Oh, wow. You feel that comfortable? Who called you Bookman? I don't know which Wu member. I don't know which. I don't know which Wu member called me Bookman. But then let me tell you something. RZA stopped it. RZA stopped it. He's like, look, he's the one playing our record. We're at his radio station. He's doing an interview with us. The next person calls him Bookman. I'm knocking the heck out. Room went silent. He was really the Abbott.
You know what? That's crazy.
He was really the
I'm glad
Abbott.
you said that because a lot of people don't realize like RZA was the brainchild behind all of this.
The whole thing was
behind the whole album 36 Chambers because from what I'm understanding, they said that RZA would decide who was going to be on what record and made them have rap battles.
What I heard was
to decide who was going to be on the record.
He would just have the instrumental on, and you smoking, you eating, you playing the game, and whoever go and lay down and whatever's hot is what they took from. But they would just play that shit in the Wu Mansion. They play an instrumental, and whoever feel like it, go in the booth and lay the vocals down.
But also, we have to also give him his props because none of them sounded alike. So it's amazing to see greatness.
That was the beauty of Wu-Tang.
Greatness in so many different voices.
Right.
He didn't just go, I need all of you to sound like Old Dirty. I need all of you to sound like Meth. He let Meth be Meth. Let Old Dirty be Old Dirty. Let Ghost be Ghost. Let Ray be Ray. He understood that it was a moving body.
And arguably,
that was the beauty of Wu-Tang.
RZA always, since day one, he always wanted us to branch out and do our own thing. It's always been like that because he can't. It's like he never wanted to hold our hands all the way through it. We grown ass men, so it's like grown ass men do grown man things.
Y'all some of the greatest lyricists in their own right. Like you can absolutely argue. Ladies love Ghosts. You know the street guys love Ray. You know, Method Man is the star. Inspector Deck. Who can beat him lyrically? A lyrical swordsman.
The backpackers love Jizza.
Jizza.
So everybody had a role. And then out of nowhere, they just dropped Capadonna. And he's rhyming circles around 80% of the rap industry. So they had that was a powerhouse for them to make that happen. So 36 Chambers is big. Now, as we start talking about powerful songs from the 93 year, this is what I want to say about the Wu-Tang album. It was the disruptive album. I consider 93 the year of hip-hop refinement.
Okay, explain that.
The late 80s was the actual construction, the bones of being built of hip-hop, the bones. We got the walls up. The 90s became the refinement. Started refining the idea. We're using other records. We're learning how to record these other records better. All the refining. Then the Wu-Tang said, we're not doing that. We're just doing Blueprint. We're doing Blueprint hip-hop. It is as it was when we couldn't figure it all out. So they were disruptive. Because honestly, when the first time you hear the Wu-Tang Clan, you're like, this is recorded poorly. This is a big
I
big
get what you mean
mess.
by the griminess of
Right, it
it,
was
by the
grimy.
authenticity.
It was
of
disruptive.
It wasn't polished.
It was no polish at
Per
all. It was
se. I get
completely
what you're
disruptive.
saying.
One
I
of the
get what you're
reasons
saying.
why that it sounded like that, and then Danielle, you can go next, is because they couldn't afford great studio equipment to
Right.
make it sound amazing.
And that's the charm.
They were struggling, and look at the sound that they produced. Talk about making lemonade out of lemons. That's exactly what they did. Go ahead, Danielle.
But prior to that, didn't we have J. Rue the Damager? Would
Yeah.
come clean, and it wasn't super smooth or whatever. It was
When it was
Wasn't he
absolutely
93 though?
grimy, but
he was 93 though too, because he was. I was in DC when J. Rue.
I
might have
remember when
been-
J. Rue.
yeah. I'm not
It was
100% I'm not
before
100%
that
on the
because I
dates.
remember being at a
The
J. Rue
Damager
show.
came out with Come Clean with
Yeah, Come Clean.
92. But look, I will add this.
And the original.
You're correct, but I think what it was, he had Premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Premiere is still fine art.
I agree.
RZA is shake the dice, let it fall, fit in where you get in.
Right.
Premiere is still refinement of the process. I'm using old records to create new. Premiere is still refinement now, but Premiere never did was he never polished.
True, and that's
Yeah,
and that's
Come
that's pretty much
Clean
what they did
was
on the West
grimy.
Coast. They went to Dre to get the whole like.
Now that's another
Right.
envelope.
And
that's
I'm
another
glad
envelope.
that you said that because that gives us a great opportunity to talk about another great album that came out. And of course, Doggy Style is arguably one of the best albums ever produced in hip hop, as well as the 36 Chamber album. I want
Chronic,
to
for
remind
real.
you to make sure, please, subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen, whether it would be on Spotify or Google Play or iTunes. Just follow it, okay? The Street Report. Today's session is strictly for grown folks. As you can see, we're talking about classic hip hop, and we're going to give you more stories about our relationships with some of the business people in the business that you probably never heard of. We're going to tell you the grit and the grime of who was really cool and who in Tribe Called Quest was really an ass. We'll talk about Phife Dawg and the importance of him as far as in rap and in hip hop culture. But right now, let's talk about Doggy Style. Real quick, man, how'd you get into this rap game? How you start, man?
I was making underground tapes back in from about 85 to 1990. And Dr. Dre just happened to stumble over one and he wanted to hook me up and we took it from there.
Cool, so the album's out there, everybody's screaming, man. You and Dre, did he do all the production or did you help or how did that work?
Dre did like about 85% of the production. My little cousin Daz, he put in his as far as production. You know, Chris the Glove, a few people here and there, Barney. It was like a family thing.
You were on the West Coast at the time when this album came out. Danielle, go.
Wow. It was so impactful. Coming off of the heels of the Chronic, it was like, I don't know if you know West Coast and LA, people go super hard for their own. So it was like a movement, Doggy Style.
And you were in college.
Yes, I was in college, but also I meant to mention that my father was also in the record business. My brother was had created his own street team at the time. But yeah, so Doggy Style, you heard it in cars, you heard it everywhere. It was a whole movement. It was something that, I mean, it was on the heels of the Chronic, but it was something so totally different and amazing sounding.
All right, go ahead.
When Doggy Style came out, it was highly anticipated. I don't think we'd seen an anticipated album at that level. So
Right.
that was big. So he had a lot to prove because we're all looking. There's
Right.
nothing worse than to, pull that curtain open and you're not ready. You're still in your robe. So for us to be prepared and getting ready for this Snoop Dogg album, it lived up to everything. And what you spoke on before, Akil, you spoke on it, is that Dr. Dre, and I was saying this to you before we talked,
Right.
Dr. Dre at that point, he was using live instrumentation on top of the sample. So I think sonically, he created the best sonic work of still using samples and then implementing live instrumentation, where Midnight Marauder is the magnum opus of sonic bass production only.
Right.
We're not adding any other. We're going to see what we can pull out sonically, EQ the best we can from these already recorded material. Dr. Dre took that and added live instrumentation and made possibly almost, I'm willing to say, a sonic hip hop opera. You could play it from beginning to end. It follows a story.
Yeah.
You're never lost. It's visual. and it's loud as all get out.
Yeah.
It's a sonic masterpiece.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
perfect. It's perfection.
What Dre did with both the Chronic albums and Snoop's album. I mean,
Right.
all Dre's beats feel full. They feel warm. It's like his beats are just a big hug. I mean, and Snoop, he was the first rapper because, again, I played the cool card if it was anything. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I wasn't a gangster. You know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
if anything, I was cool. And Snoop was the first. I was like, damn, this nigga might be cooler than me. It was a little jealousy. Like, this nigga cool as shit.
Yeah, he was.
And I mean,
He really
Snoop
was.
is just a rap star.
Yeah.
He was.
And what I like about Snoop, he's a rap star. And again, me being from the Midwest, I leaned a little bit more West Coast hip hop because, you know, Easy Street talking about putting this shit in park, had a Trials Luck on the dice game. That's what's going on 3 blocks away.
Right.
Right.
In Chicago, we weren't plugging in no fucking lights to light up a party, and you know it was great, but we wasn't doing that.
Right.
Yeah, that
Niggas
wasn't-
is
that wasn't
Vice
your element.
Lords and GDs. They gangbanging.
Right.
And the West Coast spoke a little bit more to that sensibility. So I leaned West Coast. But Snoop, I was like, when
Especially
he came-
coming from Chicago,
Yeah.
it was that's a
Yeah.
very southern city as
yeah,
well.
it is.
It looks.
It is
look-
a big town.
it's-
Chi-town. It
yeah.
is a big
You know,
town.
Dallas is the same way. They look to the
Absolutely.
west for their cues as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really appreciate and grasp Common until the record with Lauryn Hill.
Right.
You know, we liked the fact he was signed, but Can I Borrow a Dollar? Again, the hip hop heads from the North Side and guys, again, they can appreciate hip hop. But
Right.
the texture of the city, Do or Die, when they came out in Crucial Conflict, they were respected more in Chicago than Common was in the beginning. Now he's a lot more important to the culture at large. So
Right.
it's a different thing. But that's kind of how it was. So I was like, the Snoop, I mean, I was just like I said, I was enamored by
Plus, guys,
He's a
you
fan.
guys got to add Snoop was one of the most unique voices we had heard at that time.
Absolutely.
He was.
Absolutely.
So let me add
He was
this.
so different.
But before that album, let's talk about the debut of Snoop. Let's talk about Deep Cover.
Yeah.
Deep Cover, in my opinion,
Creep with me.
top 10 rap songs ever in life.
Okay.
Okay, but let me tell you the story of
It's
Deep
on the
Cover.
Deep Cover soundtrack from the movie with
From the
Larry
movie.
Finchburg.
There it is.
Yeah.
The first time I heard Deep Cover, now I'm on the radio, guys, so they give it to us on a cassette. I'm with a friend of mine, Karma Finley. Her dad used to own not Radio 1, but owned KYS.
Okay.
Albemarle.
They
Her
used to
da-
be inside the old NBC, building.
Her dad actually owned the station. We hung out because she was into hip hop. She has a minivan. She's like, I got this record from Snoop, and I was still closetly, kind of not really dissing Dr. Dre, but I didn't want to give him it all. You know, I didn't want to give him it all because the Jerry
Hip-hop
curls and all that
purists,
stuff. I didn't want to give it to him. I didn't want to
Yeah.
give it. Now, I'd be like,
Yeah.
it's dope, but
Being
I
on
wouldn't
the
give
East
it,
Coast,
right?
yep.
So we put Deep Cover in. Deep Cover comes on and Snoop comes on. I'm looking at her like, this is unreal. I'm like, play it again. We play it again. I'm like,
Right.
this is unreal. Who is Snoop Doggy Dog? Who is that guy? Blew me away. Deep Cover comes in now. I'm transported to that minivan passenger seat coming down 14th Street.
Yeah.
Immediately. There are certain records that are lyrical and music marriages where, yes, everyone could have rhymed on it, but you couldn't have created the performance that person put on it. Deep Cover is one of them.
Right.
Yes, we heard Big Pun and Fat Joe tear the same beat down, tore it down, but it didn't put me in the place that Snoop did.
Never.
No.
Never.
It didn't put me in the same place, bro.
Here's one of the reasons why I think that's so. Snoop Dogg has the ability to paint a picture in your mind.
Yes, he
that
does.
you see.
Yes, he
and
does.
me and Iron talked about this on the way in regards to this album, Doggy Style. One of the things that I think that makes this album so significant is the fact not only just the G-Funk, but it was a fun album too. Look at the Wu-Tang album. Look at 36 Chambers. That wasn't a fun album. That was a
Right.
gritty street. You know, I'm going to shoot somebody. I'm going to sell some drugs and I'm going to do what I do to get what I need to get. I'm going to get, dollar bill, y'all, right? The whole thing.
Right.
But this album they were having fun.
But you know,
They were
Parts
having-
of it, some of it was serious too.
Yeah.
Murder Was the Case was that fun.
We listened to that song on the
The
way over.
Shiznit, I don't think that was kind of like more of a dark song.
The skits were
Yeah, skits were ridiculous.
were hella
That's that
funny.
Death Row production, man.
Yes.
That's that Death
Those
Row
skits
production.
were
The
hella
interludes
funny.
were crazy.
So it kind of lightened up the album, and then them being from the West Coast. Go ahead. Iron.
Well, also it brings up something we also spoke about as well. Maybe there's something in the fact that they were in the midst of Hollywood. Maybe that's why all of their music felt cinematic.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it was
it
sonically
did.
stronger
Yep.
because they're driving out there. New York rap was
Everybody.
listened to in headphones and Walkmans on trains.
Right. That's what I said when I said everybody was in their car. Everybody's driving.
Everyone's
you hear it on the
driving.
freeway.
With their
You hear it
windows down because
everywhere.
it's so
Absolutely.
sunny all the time on the West Coast.
Yes.
And people
It
have
was
to
a
also
different feel.
realize, like, Snoop is a rapper from the West Coast, but he has kind of that East Coast work ethic. Like, Snoop is a studio rat.
Right.
And he's a off the dome guy too. He's the guy you got to snatch the mic from. Like, he's about to spit.
Hello. Shit sounds wild, man.
That's the cheap
I
ass
sound
headphones
like-
I got on. They gave you some Beats by Dre's and gave me some Beats by Leon.
It's not even just the volume. It's like a lot of low.
Yo. You sound like you on WKRP and Cincinnati.
Yeah, right?
These cheap ass headphones I got on. Coming up next song though.
Yo,
Hey, man.
yo, that's DJ Gemini right there, Snoop.
Gemini, what up, dog?
All right, where's that's DJ Gemini right there, man?
Bassy than a motherfucker. What's up, Gemini? We met.
Okay, good.
It's my guy.
These motherfuckers have been through the fire, man.
Here we go.
Through the fire.
Fire. Do the
Yeah, hey, Rosa Parks had those on.
Yeah. Okay, that's better.
This is when Jesse Jackson came and did his first
Okay.
interview when he ran for president.
Yes.
I want to wear these headphones before I talk. Well, first of all, the inauguration and dedication and preparation.
You know what I'm saying? And he came to him with that, and fortunately, he was able to listen to DOC on his 2 lists to really like take that and run with it.
That's true
He-
too.
Glad you
He's a
mentioned
West
DOC.
Coast rapper that actually does like give me the mic.
Right.
And we
Well,
can go around in the
Wait,
cipher.
You bring up something great. I don't think there's ever been a quote unquote hip hop brain trust, except for Dr. Dre's people.
Right.
Dr.
And the
Dre,
DLC.
it was Daz. It was a brain trust.
DLC.
It seemed to move a little different. It wasn't us three locked in. It was us three locked in with these other peripheral
Corrupt.
people. I think it was a brain trust. So you bring up a great point.
Yeah.
And DOC, you know what he is? He's that ingredient in a food that you taste, but you don't know what it is. Like, here's an example. What does paprika taste like? I don't know what paprika adds
What's
to
the
any
auntie,
dish.
auntie face said? Just give it color. on the YouTube when she do a baked chicken, paprika just give it color. Auntie face.
Like
It just give it
paprika.
color.
What
That's
is
true. It does
what does paprika add to taste?
A bland
But
taste of color.
It's going in all my food.
Right.
I don't know what it brings to any recipe, but it's going in all my food.
They say he's a writer. He's a writer's writer. That's why Dre had him down. You know what I'm saying? He's a writer. Same thing. Your boys Yo Gotti, and they taught Wayne. They mentored Wayne on how to because you come raw like knowing how to spit, but to actually structure a song, that's being a songwriter.
And do you know the story behind that? When Dre met Snoop Dogg, Snoop was writing just verses with no hooks. Dre is the one that taught him how to split up those verses
Song structure.
and put. Yeah, he taught him song structure, and then the rest is history. But one thing that I'll say before we go into the Tribe Called Quest part of this conversation is this: out of all of the MCs in this era, at this time of 1993, who would you consider the most successful rapper out of all of them?
It's Snoop.
It's Snoop.
Snoop, absolutely.
Exactly.
We didn't
He's-
speak about
Snoop is like
Cube.
an icon
We
now.
didn't speak about
Precisely.
Cube.
That's my
we didn't
point.
Speak about Cube, but as far as as a rapper, Snoop is a rap star.
Yeah.
He's famous.
He is a rap star.
We can remove the rap. He's a
No, he's
star.
an icon now.
Yeah, he's
look at
iconic.
what Snoop
Brother,
Dogg
he's cooking. with
Everybody
Martha
knows
Stewart.
who
That's
he is.
big.
He is, but he's still like the rap star. Like Cube isn't a rap star because he got his moguldom through his
Movies.
through his movies and that whole.
Well, hold
thing.
on,
He got his
hold
moguldom
on.
through his
You bring up a
movies.
good point.
You know,
how much
Same
of
with Ice-T.
how much of the now that's great. That's
with Ice-T.
beautiful. How much of the population knows Snoop from music versus other things?
I think most.
90% of people don't even know Ice-T did music.
Right.
That's true.
They know him as an actor
No,
now.
they don't.
Everybody knows
Ice Cube
Snoop is a rapper.
If we talk to a 19-year-old, they know
Friday.
Ice Cube from family-friendly movies. They don't know him from killing everything in
They
sight.
don't know NWA.
for 3
They don't
hours
know
straight.
NWA. That's why I say Snoop is the rap star. Everybody, your grandmother to your son knows Snoop is a rapper.
And you know what Snoop has the power of? for some odd reason, he got a record for every moment. So right now, Snoop don't got a record, but he can go do Lil Duval's verse and be the hit of the night.
He's a rap
So
star,
right now,
man.
he could go to a club in D.C. right now with a bunch of people who don't know anything from Doggy Style, barely remember anything from The Chronic, might remember Drop It Like It's Hot, don't know Sensation, but he can do his
That's a
verse.
DJ.
From you can do
Catalog. DJ go to cat. Them records he looking for. I need some Snoop. I'm waiting for Snoop.
But can go,
my
but can do Little Duval Best Life and win the night over.
Yep, absolutely.
powerful.
But that's
That's
very
true.
powerful. But as we move forward, the thing about Snoop Dogg that I'll say is how he tailors his rhymes to each record, and what he did on how he was just so laid back. Like Wu-Tang, they were
Always.
They were.
And he was cool. He was cool.
Yeah, it was a different sound.
They were very aggressive.
cooler than me out
Snoop
here,
was
so.
chill. He was laid back and kind of flowing with those beats. And I think that flow in the G-Funk, hands down, one of the best albums we've ever seen.
I agree.
I agree with
in the
that,
rap
too.
game. But there are people on this panel that probably think that Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest is better than both of those albums.
Again, we know what?
Let's get into it.
In
man.
'93, again, I came into the game.
Let's get into it.
Working for BMG, I was an intern, and a lot of these records on Jive and RCA, they were ours, like Wu-Tang Clan, like Tribe Called Quest, like Souls of Mischief, like KRS-One. There's quite a few of them,
Right.
but that Tribe.
Midnight Marauders.
And I mean, it was just so dope because that was back in the day with liner notes and you pulling out the CD, like seeing old and young. That cover was just classic.
Yeah,
and
it was.
Award Tour, that might be my favorite Tribe song. Pat.
Really?
Award Tour. I think it's
Okay.
a contender. I just like the way that song feels, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it
just
does
like the way
feel
that song
good.
feels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love electric relaxation and sucker
That
niggas.
was too, but that,
Excuse my language.
It's okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Street. I don't particularly have a favorite song on Midnight Marauder. I refuse to break it up into sections. It is a full body of work.
they religious
is.
about the Tribe.
It is,
It's a
though.
full body work. I will not pick up that
Period.
song.
Across the country, they're religious about
it. It is a
the
full
Tribe
body
Called
of work.
Okay, so let me
I
ask
can't
you
go.
this.
I just like my mother's arm.
Let me ask you this. Is it one of the best rap albums of all time? By a group.
Yes.
Absolutely by a group.
But let me add this. It is one of the best rap albums of all time, but I don't feel it is their best one. I think it is their perfect one, but it's not their best one. And I can define that.
Low in
Please
Theory.
go ahead. I want to hear
Low
this.
in Theory is
Low
their
in Theory.
best one. Midnight Marauder is the perfect one.
Okay.
Low in Theory is the best
Okay. And again, me coming from the Midwest, I didn't like the first album. Bonita Applebum, it was cool.
Are you
It's some hip-hop.
serious?
That Low End Theory, and I was at Western Illinois University. That Low End Theory.
Before that was
something.
Travels and
Yeah,
Skip.
he didn't feel
That was
Travels.
that.
Kind of
You didn't.
I gotta
wasn't
say
feeling
this
the
about
first-
Travels. Then we'll go back to Midnight Marauder.
It was a little
Okay.
backpack.
I will say this about Travels. Travels to me, I'd never heard a rap record so sexy. I didn't know if I wanted to dance or have sex.
Right.
On multiple records on there. I'm like, yo, this is
I'd rather listen to the Ghetto Boys.
I love that album.
this is gorgeous. Like the first Tribe album is a girl. Like that's a bad
Right.
girl. That's a bad girl. But
wasn't
Midnight
my type.
Marauder is perfection. It is a perfect album, and we start to see we get to see Phife really come into his own.
Absolutely. He did.
We saw Phife come into his own. We saw the peak of his genius in Low End
Theory.
but his true debut stage.
He was comfortable.
His stage dive, his
was-
successful stage dive,
He
is
was very
Midnight Marauder.
comfortable.
Midnight
I'm so glad
Marauder.
you brought
And
up
he had
Phife.
classic lines.
Phife, that was an incredible dude. I mean, this guy's, and I hate to say this, and I mean, I love Tribe. They're one of my favorite groups of all time, but I feel like Phife now, to me, and him not being alive now, something about that makes me more have a deeper appreciation for him than I had before.
Right.
Is,
All right.
is that okay for me to say?
Absolutely.
That's usually what happens, though.
Yeah,
You know,
it's the
that's
same thing
usually
with
what
Tupac,
happens.
Biggie,
Yep.
but the same
You go
thing with
back
Phife.
and listen.
I mean, I just pay attention more now to his verses and how ingenious he was as far as his wordplay was incredible.
Now, Phife was very, very special, and I like the fact that him and Q-Tip constantly, you can hear in the music that they fed off each other, and once the feeding off each other dissipated, you could hear it in the work.
Right.
Right.
You could immediately hear it in the work.
The sad part about the whole Tribe Called Quest story for me was when they
kind of went their separate ways, and they had the beef. You know, Phife came by the studio one day with Michael Rappaport.
Okay.
To talk about the documentary that they made, Beats, Rhymes, and Life.
Right.
And when he came, I mean,
When you guys went on tour, you guys decided to go back on tour at the Tribe Called Quest. Everyone was there. What happened? Do you remember? Was there an instance or a time when you guys just kind of bumped heads, you and Q-Tip?
Basically, well, I know what you're talking about. First of all, this was the day before he started shooting this film. And we had a show in Los Angeles. And I just happened to be home in the Bay Area. And I went to get a haircut. So I'm going to get the haircut, and there's a Spin magazine sitting right next to me. And to my surprise, it says Q-Tip. I'm like, oh, word? Check out what Homeboy's talking about. So, you know, I open it up, and the interview, whoever was interviewing him says, how did you and Phife mend your friendship in order to proceed with touring and yada, yada, yada. Now, you know, we've been in this business for a while. You know how to get around any question, pretty much. So instead of saying something like, you know, what I just said earlier, brothers fight, family fight, or what have you, that would have been a nice general consensus, you know what I'm saying? This guy says, Kamal says, I never had a problem with Phife. Phife had a problem with me. Just pretty much threw me under the bus. So I was kind of pissed off about that. So the rest of the tour, I just was like, because, you know, the way I took it, and this is, me and him is cool now, you know what I'm saying? But the way I took it was like, yo, we've been on tour for like a good 7-8 dates already. We laughing, we cooling, you know what I'm saying? Everything is gravy. But on the low, it's like, this how you feel, or you throwing me under the bus on some whatever. And I didn't agree with that. I didn't think it was cool. And again, after I read that, he's smiling in my face like everything is gravy. You know what I'm saying? But then all hit the fan the very next week once we did the show in San Francisco.
I think at the end of the day, they were just still going on stage together and performing for the money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had
that's tragic, and that happens a lot. I mean, we saw that happen with Diggable Planets. We saw that happen with EPMD.
Yep.
And the list goes on. We see that with the Roots too.
Okay, well let me add this not so pleasant caveat. What do you do if you're excellent at what you do, but your partner is still better? It doesn't diminish your light, but could you? Okay, and I know y'all gonna think I'm trying to be funny, but could you imagine being Ricky Bell in New Edition your whole life? So Ralph comes in, the whole place caves in. You come out, you get a lot of screams, but in comparison to Ralph, that plays on your psyche a lot.
I hate Ralph. He's my. I hate Ralph. But why you got to bring him into it?
But I want to give
Ralph was my favorite.
I want to give you an example.
Ricky's one of the best. One dude, BBD
singing wise.
Yes, he was. But guess what?
He convinced me like.
Yes, but
all them niggas.
Ricky was the underdog.
He was the underdog.
He was the underdog.
He was the underdog.
Exactly. So
nobody was
how
really
does that
checking
play
for
on
Ricky
your
back in the
psyche
day.
constantly?
Right.
Like,
is that what
the
happened?
guy next to me gets all the, now I'm getting love,
Right.
but the
You're
amount
talking
of
about
love
Q-Tip.
he gets eclipses it.
You're talking
That's
about
a
Q-Tip,
lot,
right?
Yeah, a Q-Tip. That's a lot on the mind. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I can see that, but
Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie. There's a large population of you hip hop people. Q-Tip, and myself included. Q-Tip is who we wanted to be right after Instinctive Travels.
Okay, you met Q-Tip, right?
My Q-Tip story actually ties in with Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay, what happened?
Tribe Called Quest comes into town. I'm about to do an interview with them, but they want to go to a record store. And of course, who knows where all the record stores are?
You.
Iron. I know where all the record
naturally.
So, Eric Skinner, if y'all remember who Eric Skinner was.
Of course, Eric.
Skinner.
Yeah.
Eric Skinner was like, Iron, can you take him to a record store? Yeah, so we all jumped into this car. And I was like, they're like, we're talking music. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting into Wu-Tang Clan. It's like, I heard Protect Your Neck, and I heard Method Man. That's dope. I was like, I got a bunch of other songs. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I got a bunch of other songs. You got that on you, big man? Okay, there's a big thing again. Okay, I meet that part of my thinking.
They were shaming
They're shaming me again.
Right.
So I pull out my tape and I'm playing them. I'm playing them unreleased Wu-Tang stuff.
What was it? What was the records?
So, okay, Shame on Her was on there.
Trying to run game on her.
Brooklyn Zoo was on there.
Ooh.
And so Cream wasn't on there. I have to.
Okay.
I think Bring the Ruckus was on there, and maybe another song. And they were, first of all, they're surprised I even had it, but they're playing it and they're enjoying it, and and they're being true critics. They're like, wow. Like, this is kind of like a mess, but it works as like some weird
Fife and
gumbo.
Q-Tip, and was Ali there too?
All three of them.
Okay.
Ali is
Jerobi
always
wasn't
the
there?
quietest.
Jerobi, yep, true indeed.
Jerobi wasn't there. Fife and Q-Tip were listening very intensively, especially Q-Tip intentively, because RZA is doing something different. RZA's production is the polar opposite of theirs. It's sloppy, it's on, it's off, it's sonically weird.
Right.
So they're listening to it. Now, the tape only had like 5 songs or so. They're repeating it and repeating it. And all of a sudden, Q-Tip gets an attitude. Like, you could turn that off, dude. Like, why you keep playing it? Like, you asked me. You asked me to play it. And then he got the attitude that it was playing.
Moody.
But even with that being said, he's still my top 3 hip-hop heroes of all time. But I got in my feelings over there. Like, Q-Tip, you really are a little prima donna, little dude. Slow down.
But people have been saying that about him for years, though, and that.
But you know
It
what?
is what it is.
But he's one of those weird geniuses. Like, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with that and the genius. Like Prince, you got to deal with that weird.
Brian McKnight.
You got to deal with
Keith
that.
Sweat.
It is usually the successful ones or the
Yep.
super creative ones that
Yep.
are always the most difficult.
He is.
But you gotta give them that rope.
Got to give them the room.
You gotta
You got to
give
give
them
them
that
the
rope.
room. You got to give them the room.
I hate to name names, but we have to. I mean, because
You gotta give
as
them the room.
People that listen and don't have like direct contact with artists the way we have had throughout all of our careers, they just hear the songs on the radio.
Right.
They don't get a chance to ride in the car with, or to have lunch with, or see the inner dealings of them backstage, or at the radio station when they're off the air talking. So regular folks, they don't really understand like how these individuals, like when I tell stories about Brian McKnight, people are like, what? He's a nice. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. If you don't massage him, if you don't massage Brian McKnight,
I heard he's different now.
oh, what do you mean?
I heard he's different. I heard he's a little more humble.
Oh, really? He's changed.
Yeah.
Usually when something happens,
Yeah.
maybe a lean on his head.
He might lose a record deal.
That rub turned into a lean on his house.
I mean, usually
Right.
that's what happens. Usually it's a situation that makes you turn back into a nice guy.
Right. But
Yeah.
as far as Q-Tip, I had Q-Tip when we were promoting the Renaissance.
Okay.
Because it was on Universal.
Okay.
And I actually went to take somebody from SiriusXM to do an interview with Q-Tip.
I was
then
there.
I felt bad because it's like, hey, Q-Tip, I need you to do this interview. And Fife is there because it's for Rock the Bells at Merriweather. So it's like, Fife is in there like, really? This again? You know what I mean? And then the documentary comes out. And you see it, that they're filming at Rock the Bells. And,
The tension is real.
Yes, the tension was very real. Absolutely.
I'm glad they showed that though, because it's real.
Yeah.
And a lot of times
It's happening. It's happening with groups right now. We just don't know it.
right.
There's some groups
happening with
doing
people
right now.
There's
people right
There's some
now.
groups that are dealing with that intergroup problems that happen. Bottom line, being in a group is a relationship, and like any other
And it's
relationship,
a business relationship.
It's a business.
It
one.
is a business
So
relationship.
it's a relationship. So in relationships, it is not always smooth. In fact, there's no such thing as a relationship. It's not a relationship if it's smooth sailing the whole way.
Right.
That's not a relationship. If we can't figure out the rough weather with the best of weather, then we're not in a relationship of any way,
Right.
shape, or form. We're not in a relationship.
All right, that is part 1 of the episode that we call Hip Hop for Grown Folks. We only broke down 3 albums. We're going to get into some deeper questions. Yeah. Yeah. In the next episode of The Street Report. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Like I said, make sure that you share this podcast with your friends. Also, subscribe to this. This will be on Google Play, iTunes, Libsyn. Just search The Street Report, and you'll be able to hear the next edition of the discussion of hip hop for grown folks, because I have hard questions. Yeah. I have the next set of questions. The next set of questions are like, you know what? I'll
This
give
is
you
like a test.
I'm gonna give you a teaser right now, and I don't want you to answer it. Okay?
Okay, go.
My next question in the next podcast will be, I want you to rank. Don't put your mic down.
Right.
You're going to rank. You're going to rank the top 3 albums. Okay?
Out of this group?
Out of Midnight Marauders, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers,
Doggy style.
Doggy style.
In
Black
doggy
Moon,
style.
KRS-One.
Think about it right now. Just have a seat. Have a seat, relax.
The others don't count?
Yeah, no, we'll talk about the other ones too, but we're going to get to the harder questions next, all right? The Street Report is a podcast that primarily focuses on African American culture and a whole lot more. Make sure you subscribe to The Street Report wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it be on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher. Please hit that button and subscribe. I'll be dropping a brand new podcast every week. You might want to turn on your notifications. Also follow @EasyStreet on Twitter and Instagram. The official website for The Street Report is EasyStreetShow.com. The Street Report podcast is being brought to you by, produced by, engineered by SIA Multimedia, a digital production company specializing in podcasts like this, social media strategies, and online social media commercials for your business. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @SIA Multimedia, or visit our website at siamultimedia.com. That's CYA Multimedia.com. SIA Multimedia, making sure all eyes are on you.